Good morning, everyone. We will be getting the webinar started in just a minute. We want to give everyone time to get on. So give us just a minute and then we'll begin. All right, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll go ahead and get the webinar started.
Hello, I'm Allison Chase, President and CEO with the Able Trust, and I'm here today with Adrienne Johnston, President and CEO of CareerSource Florida. We want to thank you for joining us today for today's webinar, where we will discuss how to strengthen Florida's workforce. The Able Trust is the direct support organization for the Florida Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. We support VR and engage partners like CareerSource Florida to promote the importance of a strong talent pipeline. We have a variety of participants at today's webinar, including many representatives from VR and CareerSource Florida. We are also glad to have educators, employment service providers, economic developers, and local businesses with us today. One thing I'm sure we all have in common is the desire for Florida to have a strong economy. And our state's economic strength relies heavily on a strong workforce. Floridians with disabilities are an important and qualified part of our talent pool. And the good news is their employment is on the rise. In 2018, there were over 490,000 Floridians aged 16 and over with a disability who were working. The 2022 data indicates an increase to 597,820, a 21.8% increase over the 4-year period. Despite this increase, job seekers with disabilities are often overlooked. We want to ensure their employment rate continues to rise, and this includes helping students with disabilities. They are the future workforce. For close to 30 years, the Able Trust has worked with students with disabilities through our high school high-tech program, where they learn about career and post-secondary education options, as well as learning important workforce skills. Planning for the future is vital for all students as they decide on a career path. Our youth programs are successfully helping students with disabilities as they plan for life after high school. As we work to strengthen our state's workforce and help job seekers find employment, it's important that we collaborate. This webinar, in partnership with CareerSource Florida, is an opportunity for us to come together and talk about opportunities for students to become better prepared for the workforce, along with highlighting some of the growing industries where opportunities for employment are also growing. The Able Trust released a report we developed in partnership with Lightcast, an expert in labor market analysis. The Industry Analysis and Pathways to Career Success for Persons with Disabilities report identified those growing industries in Florida that employ a high concentration of persons with disabilities. This report also highlights industries that are projected to grow at a rapid pace over the next decade. Many of those growing industries do not employ large shares of people with disabilities. This means they represent potential employment opportunities for all Floridians, including Floridians with disabilities. The Pathways report also identifies the occupations most frequently held by people with disabilities. And in these occupations, the report discusses where there is an overlap in the skills that different types of jobs require. They represent possible opportunities by providing a pathway for employees to move into other, higher-paying jobs that utilize similar skills. I hope you will take advantage of the information in this comprehensive report, and if you would like to download a copy, visit www.abletrust.org/research. During today's webinar, we will hear from CareerSource Florida on programs that are also designed to strengthen Florida's workforce. This is also a chance to strengthen local collaboration. Our goal is to ensure VR representatives understand how to partner with CareerSource Florida Disability Employment Specialists as they work with job seekers with disabilities. And as all of you know, VR and CareerSource Florida are great partners to many organizations and provide a number of services to help increase employment of job seekers in their communities. We appreciate having this expertise, and our thanks go to CareerSource Florida for helping us better understand the employment landscape in communities around Florida. And now I'll hand it off to Adrienne Johnston, President and CEO of CareerSource Florida.
Thank you so much, Allison. My name is Adrienne Johnston, and I am the President and CEO of CareerSource Florida. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Improving Employment Opportunities for Persons with Disabilities. Before we dive into the presentation, I'd like to take a few moments to introduce CareerSource Florida. At CareerSource Florida, we equip local workforce development boards with policy guidance and resources so they can support businesses and job seekers on a journey toward economic empowerment. As directed by our business-led board of directors, which is appointed by the governor, we work in partnership with all of the state agencies, businesses, and educational institutions that make up Florida's workforce development system. Our partnership with the Able Trust is focused on the common goal of helping individuals with disabilities find employment in Florida. And Florida businesses need workers today. The state's economy is thriving, and the unemployment rate is below the national average at just 3.1%. And a low unemployment rate means more competition when hiring and retaining talent. In the challenging search for qualified job candidates, employers should consider an underutilized source of promising talent, individuals with disabilities. Hiring workers with disabilities has been shown to improve morale, enhance innovative thinking, and foster goodwill among customers. It has also been associated with better workplace safety and greater productivity. When employers commit to hiring workers with disabilities, they're investing in individuals who are more likely to remain loyal to their company, which reduces turnover. Each of the more than 100 career centers within the CareerSource Florida network includes a disability employment specialist who can provide individuals with disabilities access to high-quality workforce services and help them obtain meaningful employment. The disability employment specialist can also connect job seekers with the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation and the Division of Blind Services to address accommodation and transition needs. Working to put all Floridians on a path to economic self-sufficiency is a strategic investment in Florida's future. With support from the Able Trust and CareerSource Florida, employers can identify more opportunities to hire individuals with disabilities. As Florida's workforce continues to evolve, meaningful employment is a key factor in promoting economic self-sufficiency, community, and purpose.
Adrienne, we appreciate your partnership and look forward to learning more about CareerSource Florida.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daryl McCall, and I'm a director on our workforce program and development team here at CareerSource Florida. As introduced by Adrienne Johnston, our president, we work very closely with targeted industries in Florida to help them find skilled talent. I appreciate you having me today.
And I'm Susan Bossy, Director of Workforce Program Development and Apprenticeship Expansion for the CareerSource Florida Network.
All right. As Adrienne mentioned in her introduction, CareerSource Florida's partnership with Able Trust is dedicated to the common goal of helping individuals within the disability community find meaningful employment in our state. I have a passion for serving this community. In fact, in my first job right out of college, I served as a job coach for persons with disabilities, helping them to find jobs, apply for jobs, practice interviews, and in many cases, I worked right alongside with them for a few weeks to help ensure a smooth transition into their new job. You'll find many of our network folks have a passion as well for serving this community. And we appreciate the opportunity again to partner today. So today we'd like to share two resources with you today that can point to the individuals you work with or come in contact with within the disability community that will help them train for and secure meaningful employment. First, the CareerSource Florida Network Summer Youth Employment Programs. These programs are an investment in our future workforce. When you help a young person envision how they can turn a talent or an interest into a career, you help them picture what being successful as all adult looks like. In 2023, nearly 7,000 young people throughout the state participated in a summer youth employment program in their communities. And 21 local workforce development boards hosted a summer youth employment program and served young people in 57 counties across Florida. Participants range in age from 14 to 24. Some programs are limited to older teens between the ages of 16 and 19. By participating, young people can earn, grow employability skills, and meet and work alongside experienced and supportive mentors. Most of us in this room can likely name a professional mentor who made a difference in our careers, and we want to help make these important connections for young people. To this day, I still remember a neighbor who asked me one summer what I was doing during the summer, and he helped me get my first job at a local grocery store. It made a big impact on my life and really kind of set up the foundation today of what I do. Participants in these programs have gained experience in some of the state's most in-demand industries, including healthcare, aviation, information technology, manufacturing, and hospitality. Summer youth employment programs are but one example of how the CareerSource Florida Network prepares youth aged 16 to 24 seeking employment and training help. Local workforce development boards help youth to build career pathways by providing programs and services at more than 100 career centers throughout the state year-round. Training is an important component of our youth programs, and from 2022 to 2023, the CareerSource Florida Network helped 61.4% of those youth obtain an industry-recognized credential. These look very good on resumes and help to meet employers' needs. So summer is already here, and if you haven't already done so, it's time to make plans. We encourage the students you work with to explore this opportunity. In many cases, these programs have filled up already, so if not now, start planning for next year. And all they have to do is connect with their local career center to learn more about enrollment. Now we'd like to show you a great video of one of our successful summer youth programs offered in the Orlando area by our CareerSource Central Florida office.
It's actually really amazing.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
They provide me a lot of opportunities.
So the summer youth activities explore, engage, and experience have different ideas and experiences for young people to participate in during summer. We work with our local colleges and tech schools, and those young people get exposed to the growing career fields that are in Central Florida.
This gives them an opportunity to really understand better what is out there for them post-high school.
Because of this program, I'm able to learn more and new experiences about other things.
They work about 30 hours a week and they earn a wage. So if a young person says, you know, I really would like to understand what it means to be a chef, they actually go to a 5-week program where they learn culinary sciences.
And what they can do with that is that can get credits towards their degree. You know, fun, good.
I did CareerSource last year and I did coding, and I really thought that I really wanted to do that, but I feel like doing the culinary, I might want to pursue something in culinary.
At school, I'm more in aerospace, so they put me in max flight with the helicopters. It's a great experience.
They get to learn some of the smaller details that we need to do to keep the operation going.
Working here helped me want to do this more. I get to see all the airplanes, and that's where I want to work in the end.
It sparks their interest in aviation. If we're able to pass that on to the kids coming in for the program, someday they too may want to fly and become a pilot.
They actually participate in a job fair with businesses throughout Central Florida who want to take on an intern for 6 weeks.
Career Source has really helped me keep my summers very structured, and it helps me, like, for college, I'm going to need money, so it helps pay for stuff that I'm going to need in college as well.
I recommend this, like, 100%.
There's a lot of stuff you could be doing and an option.
It's very inspiring.
The Summer Youth Program is a great first step. Try it, see something that you might be interested in.
This opportunity opens the door for them for a future career.
Fantastic. Love seeing that video. I hope you all were amazed as much as I was. So now I'd like to welcome my colleague, Susan Bossy, who collaborates with our partners at Florida Commerce and the Florida Department of Education's Office of Apprenticeship to promote and expand the use of registered apprenticeships across the state of Florida. Susan?
Thank you so much, Daryl. I am pleased to be able to share some of the fantastic resources the CareerSource Florida Network, along with our partner agencies, are working on to assist Floridians with all skill levels to get on a career pathway to high-wage, in-demand jobs. In Florida's ever-evolving job market, the demand for skilled workers is outpacing the supply. In response, the CareerSource Florida Network continues to promote innovative and effective workforce training solutions, including apprenticeships. Registered apprenticeships are a proven training method benefiting both job seekers and employers looking to bolster their workforce in any industry. In some countries like Germany or Switzerland, middle and high school youth prepare for a future that either takes them on a college or career pathway. With more and more Florida employers developing registered apprenticeships designed to allow their employees to learn while they are working and earning a paycheck, youth and adults across our state now have many more options post-high school graduation. An apprenticeship is an earn while you learn model, where apprentices receive related technical instruction, sometimes at a local technical school or community college, or even virtually, while they are learning on-the-job skills with supervision and mentorship from an experienced worker, all while taking home a paycheck and not accumulating student loan debt. And apprenticeships, although used for decades in the United States for occupations in the building and construction trades, are now being utilized successfully in a variety of industry sectors, including information technology, healthcare, advanced manufacturing, and aviation. During the 22-23 program year, there was a 14% increase in the total number of active apprentices. And last year, apprentices who completed their program and received an apprenticeship certification earned an average exit wage of $25.70 per hour, or $53,642 annually. At each of our local career centers around the state, we have an apprenticeship navigator who works with prospective apprentices or employers to learn more about the many benefits of apprenticeships. And nobody can tell the story about the benefits of apprenticeships better than an actual apprentice. So I would like to go to the next slide and show you this brief video.
My overall experience was awesome. I mean, getting to come to work every day, going through the apprenticeship, getting to build things.
When you go from class to hands-on, it sticks in my brain when I'm able to do it that way.
I like what I'm doing. I feel like I can take this anywhere I want to go.
I still get to work, I still get to learn, and you're still growing.
There's a lot of growth available in there, and there's a lot of opportunities that you can gain from it.
I don't think people realize you can make a good living by going through the apprenticeship.
Most students in four-year colleges this is only 2 years I'm going to be making good money, and they'll still have 2 years of school left while I'm already being paid.
It's been quite an experience. I've learned a lot of different new things, and really the possibilities are endless when you're an apprentice.
If it's something that maybe you have some interest in and they're offering you a paid apprenticeship, I mean, what are you doing? Go sign that paper and get started.
Apprenticeships work for talent.
Yeah, I just love when he says, just go sign that paper and get started. So that video really kind of sums up what apprenticeships can do for youth and people across the state of Florida. Going to our next slide, if you want to learn more about youth services or registered apprenticeships or to connect with a disability employment specialist, as Adrienne mentioned in the intro video, contact your local workforce development board. And if you have not yet connected with your local Career Source Center, I encourage you to reach out today to learn more about what they can do to assist you. So I want to say thank you on behalf of Daryl and myself. Thank you so much for inviting us to share this information about the Career Source Florida Network, and we'll be happy to answer some questions later.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Joey D'Souza, the Senior Vice President at the Able Trust. And we'll be talking a little bit now about our youth programs and how all this connects between Career Source Florida, the Able Trust, and other partners around the state. So if we can advance the slides. Like Allison mentioned earlier in her comments, the Able Trust has been operating youth programs in the state of Florida for almost 30 years. I believe April 25 will be our 30th anniversary of high school high tech in the state of Florida. But we recently just launched a new program called Futures in Focus. The aim of both programs is to get students with disabilities in Florida more connected to their local career options and post-secondary options. Similar to our Light Cash report that Allison also mentioned earlier, both programs really are focused on introducing students and giving them opportunities to explore those in-demand and emerging careers that are located in their home markets. We know from anecdotal evidence as well as scientific evidence that students with disabilities, and actually just many people in general, stay within their home communities where they've been born, where they've been raised. They've created these rich networks of friends, of family, of supporters that have helped them live an enriched life. And ensuring that people with disabilities are able to live rich and fulfilling lives, we want to be able to put them into opportunities for sustaining careers leading to self-resiliency in their communities, which is why we have that focus on in-demand and emerging careers. A lot of the activities that are occurring in our high school tech, in our Futures in Focus program are also very similar to those activities that students with disabilities are participating in through VR's programs, pre-employment transition services throughout the rest of the state. As you can see, we have a very sizable footprint of our high school tech and Futures in Focus programs in the state of Florida, but we are actively continuing to try to grow this so we can reach as many students with disabilities throughout the entire state of Florida. If you can advance the next slide. I also mentioned earlier, the Able Trust is a really strong supporter and believer in collaboration. This is a small pictograph of how high school tech or Futures in Focus works. In this case, high school tech. We have the Able Trust, who has developed and supports the program throughout the state of Florida. We partner with VR, who helps to support the program and get our students connected to additional resources provided by VR, such as pre-employment transition services. And then we look for our strong local partner that will actually provide opportunities and programming to students in their local communities. We have currently 3 relationships with local career source boards in the state of Florida. Career Source Florida Crown up in the north central part of the state, Career Source Gulf Coast located on the Gulf Coast of Florida, and then Career Source North Florida, which is also located in the upper northern central part of the state in Gainesville. Through these rich partnerships and these collaborations, our students with disabilities that are part of high school tech are able to achieve rich experiences so that they can make an informed decision on what they want to do once they leave high school. And that truly is the goal. We don't want our students with disabilities to just be sitting on their couch or just to be having some low wage, low barrier to employment work. We want them to engage in rich and fulfilling jobs that lead to careers. So whatever it is, whether they start off as a Publix bag boy, we want them to work their way up to management. Whether they start working at McDonald's, get them up to management at McDonald's. We want, again, moving into careers, into self-sufficiency. And again, with all these partnerships, with the Able Trust, with VR, and our strong local community partners, high school tech is able to achieve a 99% high school graduation rate, and 52% of our graduating seniors elect to continue their education post-secondary. And then that number jumps to 88% of our seniors who elect to either continue their education post-secondary or to enter the world of work. Both numbers are exceeding the state's counterpart in terms of students with disabilities graduating, as well as students with disabilities entering post-secondary employment. So with that, that's just a brief overview of the Able Trust rich history in supporting students with disabilities to achieve career and academic success in the state of Florida. And I'll kick it over to Allison to talk about WIOA partners.
Thanks, Joey, and good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you especially to our Career Source Florida partners and Daryl and Susan for your great presentations. So as Joey said, I'm Allison Chase. You all saw me a little bit earlier on the video. I have this distinct pleasure of being the president and CEO of the Able Trust. I think most of you all who are in attendance today know at least a little bit about the Able Trust and that we exist to support vocational rehabilitation here in our state. We are the direct support organization to vocational rehabilitation, which means that we support them in all of their efforts and have a common mission of helping individuals with disabilities in the state of Florida get into meaningful careers. So what I hope that you all are, can we advance the slide, please? Getting from today's webinar is really kind of a sneak peek or a glimpse at the broader view of workforce development in the state of Florida. So I know that most of our audience members here today are either already working for vocational rehabilitation or you are a provider of employment services for vocational rehabilitation. So a lot of this isn't necessarily new for you, but this is a lot of stuff that we talk about at the state level and oftentimes maybe doesn't get down to local level conversation. So what you're seeing here on the slide on the screen today is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act core partners. So I know that most of you all are familiar with WIOA. It's federal legislation that all states are under for workforce development and implementation of those services throughout the state. These are the core partners of WIOA here in Florida, which include Career Source Florida, the Department of Florida Commerce, and the Florida Department of Education, 3 divisions within FDOE, including vocational rehabilitation, the Division of Blind Services, and career and adult education. Next slide, please. So in addition to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, Florida implemented the REACH Act under Governor DeSantis a few years ago, which stands for Reimagining Education and Career Help. And really what this, the REACH Act exists to help coordinate, collaborate, and help Florida job seekers make sure that they are getting connected to all of the services and programs that they're eligible for. So many of you may have heard of the notion of no wrong door, which is really a catchphrase for making sure that individuals who come in, whatever door they come into Florida's workforce programs, whether it's VR, whether it's Career Source, Blind Services, or the many other partners that are part of workforce innovation, here in Florida, that they get access to all of the services. So you can be a consumer of vocational rehabilitation, but also be receiving services through some of the great programs with Career Source Florida. You can be a consumer of vocational rehabilitation and also enrolled in an adult education program through the Department of Education. So really this is to start the conversation about collaboration between those programs and making sure that that information is getting to the people who are boots on the ground and working directly with people with disabilities and helping them get into training and workforce development programs. So what I'd like to do is to ask all of our speakers, Daryl, Susan, Joey, you're already on camera, to come back on camera, and we're going to engage in a little bit of question and answer and discussion from some questions that were submitted to us by the audience during their registration process. So Daryl, the first question is going to go out to you. If you could tell us a little bit more, I know you gave some contact information, but how would a VR counselor or a VR service provider help learn about the summer work programs I know that are getting geared up all around the state? What would be your recommendation to help them get connected to those programs?
Absolutely. I think the easiest step is always right in front of us. It's log into careersourceflorida.com, find your local partner and team. as our president and the CEO, Adrian Johnson, mentioned, we do have some disability navigators at each of our local boards too. So the first step, most of that information, once you find your local area and team, most of that information is on their website, and that really gives you the full scope. When they're taking applications, what the deadline is, how many, all the specifics. So I think that's the best way. And then of course, if there's any barriers, we can always, make personal contacts as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I know, and I'm ad-libbing here a little bit. So a lot of our audience members today do summer programs themselves through pre-employment transition services with vocational rehabilitation. Would the students that they're working with, would that preclude them from being a part of a summer youth program with CareerSource Florida?
Not at all. There's basic eligibility, but most of the persons with disabilities would be eligible right away. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
To kind of piggyback on that a little bit, there's also partnerships with other folks to expand existing summer programs. So a lot of times our local boards will work with the city or county or other partners and pool their funds together to make the program even larger to accept more students. So.
Okay, wonderful. Well, and I know Joey gave the example of the high school high tech programs that we have with some of the local CareerSource offices. And I know that they do, we hear a lot about blending and braiding, but that truly is like one of the best examples that I know about because it's high school high tech, it's CareerSource youth programs, and it's also VR pre-employment transition services. So it's really, that's like living what WIOA and Florida Reach is really trying to get at the local level. So one more question for you, Daryl.
Sure.
Are CareerSource Florida services only for young adults and youth? So a lot of the people that are on the call today, although they serve young adults and youth, they also serve adults in their programs. Would there be programs that they would qualify for?
Absolutely. So kind of give you the lay of the land. Our youth programs actually can serve individuals from 14 to 24, and there's a little bit of an overlap. Our adult programs start actually at age 18 and go to an unlimited number. So no one's too old to get services, and there's some overlap there depending on the student's kind of career path or where they are as to which how we could serve them. So it's a great question, and we
awesome.
serve pretty much everyone.
Okay. Awesome. So Susan, I have a couple of questions for you. Can you tell us what kind of education or experience someone needs to have to become an apprentice?
Sure, Allison. So in some cases, they don't need any education or any experience, right? Maybe they've just graduated from high school and they are going to embark on maybe one of their first career opportunities. But they could have some prior experience. Maybe they took some career and technical education in high school, or maybe they're working in an entirely different job. Maybe they're the people that are bagging the groceries at the local grocery store. So they have some experience, but they really want to enter into a new occupation. And one of the nice things about an apprenticeship program is it's an earn while you learn experience. So it does not require someone to quit their job if they have a job that's supporting themselves and their families. They don't have to quit a job to get training, to go back to school for training for 6 months or a few years to get another job. They can easily move or transition into an apprenticeship program where, again, they're going to receive on-the-job training with a mentor. They're going to receive related technical instruction, and that might be during the workday, that might be a couple nights a week, that might be at a local community college, or that might be a virtual learning opportunity. And the final thing that they might participate in prior to an apprenticeship program is a pre-apprenticeship program. And that's a program where they may or may not be earning money, but they are learning a little bit about an apprenticeship program that they can subsequently go into after the pre-apprenticeship program. And one more thing that makes this really great for both employers and for job seekers, registered apprenticeship programs allow employers to hire and train people that are not necessarily skilled for the job yet, right? They're going to learn while they're on the job. And as I mentioned just a minute ago, it helps individuals who don't have the skills to enter into a new career field, it gives them an opportunity because they're going to be learning while they're earning a paycheck.
Okay, great. I have another question for you, but before that, I just want to do a follow-up. You mentioned pre-apprenticeships. How do students get into those? Are those something that's available through the school district or through Career Source, or how does that work?
A variety of locations, actually. And I, like Daryl mentioned several times, the best place to start is really your local Career Source Center. As I mentioned in my presentation, we have apprenticeship navigators at each of our 24 local workforce development centers that can assist an individual that might be interested in either an apprenticeship program or a pre-apprenticeship program to locate some of those programs in their areas. And a pre-apprenticeship program is always going to have a connection to an apprenticeship program. So it's a great way to kind of just learn a little bit about the industry before you actually take that step and get a job. So as an example, there is a pre-apprenticeship sponsor in healthcare that operates across the state of Florida, and they actually have a virtual training program. So last year, they were able to use their virtual platform to introduce 100 people in the state of Florida to occupations in healthcare. And out of those 100 people, approximately 44 said, this is something I'm interested in. What do I do next? They can come to the Career Center and get additional training, or they can maybe go into an existing apprenticeship program in healthcare. So it really gives people an opportunity to try maybe a variety of different occupation pathways.
That's really great. And you may have answered the next question in your answer to my previous question, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. How can someone find an apprenticeship? So if they've already done, some of the background training pre-apprenticeship, what's the best way for them to get directly into an apprenticeship?
Yeah, so there's a few ways. Again, the primary way is to reach out and have that established relationship with your local Career Source Center in your region. But there's also a really great resource called the Apprentice Florida website, and it's just apprenticeflorida.com. On that Apprentice Florida website, that's really designed for both employers and job seekers. But there is a specific tab for apprentices. And if you go to the Apprentice Florida website and click on apprentices, you can actually click a little orange button that says find an apprenticeship program. And that will give you a list you can search by various industries to see if there's something in your region that might be of interest to you.
Okay, wonderful. Joey, I have a question for you. And this is similar to my question to Daryl earlier about does being in a Career Source program preclude somebody being in, a VR pre-ETS program? So the same question, can a student be enrolled in high school high tech while also receiving VR pre-employment transition services?
Yeah, the short answer to that is yes. And I think you said it really great earlier. It's like a true blending and braiding of programs. And so high school tech happens during the school day, outside of the school day. It just really depends on our local partner. And so while they're doing that separately, that student, what they're eligible, are still able to receive pre-ed services from whatever vendor that they may be working with that is providing pre-employment transition services. And so not only are they really getting that benefit of a really rich and comprehensive high school tech program, getting them connected to all sorts of resources in their communities, but they're also able to really work on developing job-specific skills through pre-employment transition services to really have that well-rounded experience that get them work ready and prepared for what comes after high school.
Great. Thank you. And thank you again, Daryl and Susan, for joining us today on the webinar. I hope that all of our participants have learned at least one new thing and start acting on it at the local level. That's really where the important work happens, is with the boots on the ground, people who are working directly with people with disabilities. And there's so many wonderful programs. Florida literally invests billions of dollars every year into workforce development. And we want to make sure that people with disabilities gain access and know about all of the various opportunities because they're really exciting. And as Joey said, we want to help individuals with disabilities grow their career, not just get a job, any job, and the programs that you all have around the state, coupled with VR services, high school high tech services, really can change the future trajectory for an individual with disabilities. So thank you all for being here today. On your screen are a couple of QR codes. The first one is a link to the Pathways report that Adrian and I talked about in the introduction, and a QR code to CareerSource Florida so that you can start getting connected. We really encourage you to go out, just set up a meeting with your counterpart over at the CareerSource office and sit down and talk about all of the different possibilities, because they are vast and really important and valuable. So we appreciate you all being here today. If you have any follow-up questions, you can contact us at the Able Trust. All of our email addresses are located on our website, and we look forward to being able to assist you in your really important work. So thank you all for being here today.